Okay, great. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Rebecca Huffler. I am the program coordinator for Sustainable Duke. That is your Office of Sustainability. And I just want to give a big welcome to the first years who are on this call, the class of carbon neutrality. We are so excited to meet you and have you on campus. And we can't wait to have you join our community. So we have a huge representation of all the different environmental energy policy groups, food related organizations in this webinar right now. And what we're going to do is have the presentation slides go through the different groups, and they're going to talk for a few minutes and talk about the organization. The way this is structured is that we're going to have the group presentations for about an hour, and then you are welcome to stay on to ask questions of any group. You're also welcome to take screenshots of the slides of the groups that you're most interested in, because this will be very fast paced to make sure that we get everyone out in a quick manner. And then, of course, we are recording. I am very happy afterwards. I will send this video to all the attendees and everyone who is here today. For our presenters, when you see your slide come up, you can unmute yourself. And then when your slide needs to be changed to the next one, you can just say next slide, and I'll be happy to do that for you. We have quite a few groups. I think we have something about 18 groups or 18 people representing these groups here today. And the way that they're broken out is we have some general overarching groups regarding sustainability. Since sustainability is that intersection between environment, economy, and society, we do have, oops, let's see, let's admit some people. Move this over here, there you are. We do also have more specific, so we have tech, energy, and the environment, climate action specifically for those who are interested in activated activism, food security and sustainable food systems, nature, education, and awareness, as well as eco arts and intersectionality. So general groups and overarching sustainability, we're going to have UE go first, the Undergraduate Environmental Union, and now I will mute myself for the remainder of the presentation. If anyone's interested in broad sustainability and questions about our carbon neutrality goal, you can email sustainability@duke.edu and we can talk more. Take it away, Cameron, or whoever's talking to you.
Thank you, Becky. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this amazing webinar. And welcome to the Undergraduate Environmental Union, Duke's hub for undergraduate environmental programming, events, and collaboration. You could go to the next slide. Awesome. Next slide, please. Yeah, so my name is Cameron. We're just gonna go through the exec members here.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Isabel.
And we are the Undergraduate Environmental Union. Next slide, please. So the Undergraduate Environmental Union was created to facilitate communication and collaboration between all Duke undergraduate environmental entities, Duke administration and academia, such as the Nicholas School for the Environment, and Duke and Durham at large. That is the general Duke populace. We are housed within Duke Student Government as an official subcommittee led by the DSG Director for Environmental Affairs and Policy. So we're official. We act as an advisory board for all undergraduate environmental organizations on campus, hosting monthly board meetings to encourage collaboration between existing clubs. We act as a liaison between Duke Sustainability Office, the Nicholas School for the Environment, the Campus Sustainability Committee, and other Duke sustainability facilities. We facilitate the creation of new environmental groups and programs on campus. And one of the most important parts, I will say, is we spearhead and host events, initiatives, and programs that are too big to fall under any single campus club. So we are working to become the go-to source for all that is Duke environment and a resource for ongoing projects and information at Duke, in Durham, and beyond. Next slide, please.
So we currently have 14 different board members and affiliate groups. Many of the groups that you'll see presented today are represented among our ranks, and we're growing. So if you're coming in and would like to make a new environmental organization on campus, know that you would be sent to us to make sure there's no unnecessary overlap between your group and existing groups that we have on campus. And then afterwards, you would become a UEU board member and would participate in our board meetings. Next slide, please. We also have 9 different partner offices. So we work with departments like the Duke Energy Initiative and Sustainable Duke. And they will actually be having another webinar coming up on August 21st from 12 to 1 Eastern time. So stay tuned for that. Next slide.
So UAU first started in 2018, and we spent that year really working to become an organization. And we put on an Earth Week event in the spring to celebrate environmentalism and environmental groups at Duke. In 2019, we finally became an official organization. In the fall, we hosted a climate rally to encourage local and state officials to support climate action, and an environmental blowout, which was a day-long event sharing the work of environmental organizations at Duke. And this year is our third year, our best yet. We have a ton of awesome events happening this semester. One of our big initiatives is an environmental literacy course requirement to require all graduating students to take a sustainability course and understand how sustainability and climate interacts with their major. We're also teaching an environmental justice house course called Environmental Justice NC. Totally welcome to screenshot this page and sign up for the class, focusing on environmental justice issues, including hog farming and coal ash in North Carolina. We're also working on bringing environmental programming to Duke Huntington University, getting a campus-wide email blast similar to GSG and DoArts. We're helped plan this event, and we're hosting a series of other webinars, including COVID-19, sustainability. We're working to revamp our website to include a calendar of all big environmental events. So if you're ever curious about what's happening, you can pop over to our website and see what environmental events are going on. And we also have a ton of other things. So take a look at our social media and our website to learn more. Next slide, please.
So if you want to know more about UEU or basically anything that is happening when it comes to environmental programming, these are the ways that you can contact us. So I would recommend taking a screenshot or a photo with your phone. Like Ashley mentioned, we are revamping the website, and this is the link to the website, but we're hoping for it to be sort of like a hub for all environmental events that happen at Duke and all environmental opportunities. And then don't forget to also follow us on Facebook, and our Instagram will be coming soon. So thank you.
Awesome, you guys are wonderful. I am Avery Indermauer. I am a senior who's been interning with Sustainable Duke this summer, and I've also been a Green Devil intern since freshman year, and I will be one this year. So we go next slide, Becky. So who are the Green Devils? So basically, Green Devils is an internship program for undergraduates that's facilitated by Sustainable Duke. Our goals are to empower and educate Duke students to become sustainability leaders, as well as focusing on addressing on-campus sustainability issues. So next slide, please. So this is our mission. It's long and involved, but basically the main pillars are sustainability leadership, hands-on on-campus engagement, mentorship from graduate students as well as professors and professionals in the area, and incorporating justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion into all of our programming on campus. So next slide, please. So while Green Devils will be changing a lot this year, I know some of you probably have past experience with it. Partially those changes are due to COVID and also partially just a kind of a general need for reprogramming. But these are some of our past projects just to get an idea for the types of things we engage in. So there was a pop-up bike shop, which is promoting sustainable transportation. Also a pumpkin patch and carving event supporting local farmers, sustainable agriculture. Also a planning workshop advocating reuse of disposable plastic bags. Next slide, please. Then we have the Devils Against Disposables campaign, which is about rejecting disposability. The Devil's Thrift House, where we had over 700 students come through to get these reused items that people had donated. And also the Reusable Straw Initiative. Some of you may have picked up metal straws in the past, also about reducing disposability. So next slide, please. So yeah, basically I said that the program is changing. This is the biggest change that we're implementing. We now, this semester, are launching the Sustainability Certification Program for first years. So next slide. The Sustainability Certification Program is a 3-phase program. It will be replacing what was formerly known as Green Devils East. The first phase involves cohort bonding and community building amongst the ambassadors in training is what they'll be known as. Then also doing some workshops about broad sustainability at Duke, as well as just sustainability literacy in general. The second phase is deep dives with upper level Green Devils as well as professors and professionals about specific sustainability topics. And then the last phase will be taking what you've learned in those different workshops, synthesizing them into a project and proposing it. After completing all the phases, first years will become sustainability ambassadors, and they will go on to become the upper level Green Devils doing programs and engagement on campus. So next slide. So if you're already an upper level student and you're interested in getting involved with helping facilitate the program, we do still have some positions that need to be filled for that, being released on August 15th. And then if you're a first year who's excited about sustainability certification, we'll have dates released for those info sessions in late August and early September. If you have any general questions, you can email sustainability@Duke or me directly about the program or student involvement in it with my email right there. And one more slide. It's a quick plug. I have a workshop coming up about sustainability overall on August 27th if you want to learn more or have any questions for me.
Hi, my name's Grace. I am with Duke Climate Coalition, and I'll just run through the mission really fast. It's an awesome club on campus that I got involved in freshman year, and I'm now a rising sophomore, so really excited. At DCC, we're striving to mobilize student power through coalition building that centers the experiences of BIPOC communities and the work that marginalized communities have spent their lives fighting for. We aim to leverage Duke's institutional influence to create system-level progress on climate change within marginalized communities, with the understanding that the Duke institution has caused harm to a lot of these individuals that we hope to support. We resist climate and environmental injustice through our work by ensuring transparency within the university's administration and fight for fair representation of community interests by holding decision makers accountable for their climate and social responsibilities. Next slide.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I also serve in the exec board for Duke Climate Coalition. And here are some of the past projects that we've worked on. So a few years ago, there was a plan to build a light rail that would connect the hospitals in the Triangle area. And this would have saved energy and reduced greenhouse gas emissions. And DCC played a large role in raising awareness and gaining support for it. DCC is also active in advocating for Duke to divest and to stop investing in fossil fuel companies. The hospital efficiency team has been in contact with hospital administrators and others that are in a position of an authority regarding the hospital to bring about more sustainable practices in the health system. DCC has also been in contact with the Durham mayor as well as with other city officials to promote sustainability in the city and to work towards a climate policy plan for Durham. And DCC has also helped establish reusable to-go containers in West Union to reduce waste production. Next slide.
Hello, my name is Sophia. I'm president of Duke Climate Coalition, and this year one of our campaigns is around endowment justice because Duke's carbon neutrality goal does not include the carbon footprint of Duke's $8 billion endowment. So our approach is to not just focus on fossil fuels, but focus on all of the companies that contribute massively to this climate crisis, as well as to major humanitarian crises. So that includes trying to get Duke to divest from prisons, the military, big tech companies that fund ICE, and anything else, and trying to reinvest those funds in actually good things. Our other campaign is around Duke Energy, which has a monopoly over energy in North Carolina. And Duke Energy has also contributed to coal ash and other various environmental justice problems which have caused cancer in mainly marginalized communities. So our goal is to pressure Duke admin to lobby the state government, fight Duke Energy, and try to get North Carolina to transition to renewables. We also have a campaign to do more outreach and education to the Duke community to inform them about the importance of climate justice and the terrible influence of corporations. We also work with coalitions of climate groups around the country from universities around the country. We recently did an alumni action with college groups from around the world to fight against the Coastal GasLink pipeline. We're also working on the Duke tuition strike. So please follow Duke Tuition Strike on Instagram and DM if you want to get involved. Next slide.
I'm Isabel again. I spoke earlier for UEU, and I'm also a member in DCC. So this is our contact information slide. Make sure you take a photo of it and follow us on our different social medias. And then also, if you'd like to scan the QR code, that will take you to a Google form where you can sign up if you're interested in joining DCC. And the group me information will also be a part of that form. So thank you, and you can move on to the next slide, Becky.
Hi, my name is Steven, and I'm representing Sunrise Durham. So Sunrise is a national movement, and it is a movement to stop climate change and create millions of good jobs in the process. So we're building an army of young people to make climate change an urgent priority across America in the corrupting influence of fossil CEOs on our politics and elect leaders who stand up for the health and well-being of all people. So Sunrise is most famous probably for its pushing for a Green New Deal. And the thing about a Green New Deal is that it's a transformative mission. It's transforming through a cross-racial, cross-class movement the way our government works. So if we could go to the next slide. So this is a picture from our 2020 launch party. I want to clarify, so Sunrise Movement has hubs across the nation. This is the Durham hub, and these are just some of the people in that hub who are mostly Duke students. So it is not like a Duke club or a Duke organization, but a Durham organization. And I think that's one of the special things about it, is that it gives you the opportunity to kind of go outside of the Duke bubble and engage with the Durham community. So next slide, please. All right, so past and current projects and events, we have different teams, like a political team, an actions team, a trainings team, and communications. So whatever your skills or interests are, there's a place. So what this results in, kind of the projects, is things like town halls, rallies, protests, and things that we're working on right now include like collaborations with other organizations in Durham. And one thing that's been going on right now that I'm involved in is an endorsement process for candidates across North Carolina. And that's is actually one of the most like exciting moments right now in the time that I've been involved. So yeah, there's opportunities for a lot of different things. We can go to the next slide. And so this is a picture from the climate strike in 2019 that we had in December and that a lot of Duke students showed up to. And it was a very powerful experience just to see the number of people who showed up to go through the streets of Durham and demand a Green New Deal. And you can see here other pictures of how art can be a part of the movement as well. So next slide, please. All right, so if you're at all interested in Sunrise Durham and being involved, I'll ask you to DM me, Stephen Atkinson, look for that in the chat, your email, and then also we have an Instagram and a Twitter you can be involved with, that you can look at to be involved. All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrew and I'm on the exec board for DCT. And so DCT's main overall mission is to bring together students from a diversity of fields and basically work towards creating technical solutions to problems which we identify through collaboration with scientists, startups, and NGOs, and understand the environmental impact that these solutions will have. And so in achieving this mission, DCT hopes to engage its students through three main avenues. And so next slide. So yeah, the first avenue is through these hands-on projects that we've been working on for the past few years. And so for the first project, Algae Window, essentially the idea is to reduce household energy use through the use of these so-called algae blinds. And so this is one of the newer projects that we've been doing. In fact, our old president actually just started this past year, and we're hoping to get more students interested in that project. And so if you're interested in reducing this household energy and that sustainability sort of thing, definitely contact us about that. Another project that we've been doing is computer vision UAV. And so essentially the idea is that we want to develop a low cost animal tracking system using a drone and sort of like a QR code, but it's more like a simpler version of a QR code. And essentially we want to track individual animals to monitor their behavior so that we can help aid conservation efforts. And so we've done prototyping, and we've completed manual flight for the drone. And we're hoping on, we actually got some grant funding from an outside organization. We're hoping to finish that project this coming year. Another project is the microbial fuel cell. Essentially, it's kind of like a win-win situation where we're hoping to generate energy while helping to do water filtration and water purification. And so we're also in the preliminary stages for that project. And so if you're interested in that, definitely let us know. And finally, one of the newer projects that we're having on board is the Rainforest X Prize. And essentially it's using drones to identify new rainforest species and help aid conservation efforts there. And if you're interested in any of these projects, or if you are interested in other projects and you have your own ideas, definitely do let us know, and we are open to listening to those. Next slide.
So I think we had a couple of slides cut off actually. We were supposed to have, I think, 3 more slides on here. So I guess I'll talk about some of the other avenues of impact through DCT. So another signature avenue sort of impact that people can get engaged through is our Blueprint event, which is basically like an ideation event where people can come and work in groups to come up with ideas of potential projects. And then top 4 projects are actually selected and receive seed funding to be built out through DCT. So we're looking for people to help out with event planning if anyone's interested and passionate about, looking to kind of, organize stuff and create another avenue for impact for new students, sophomores, anyone who's really interested alike. That's another thing. That's an event that's gotten a lot of traction in the past with sponsorships from some great companies. And is a great opportunity to kind of give more people, the opportunity to utilize their tech solutions to get involved. So the final avenue of impact is kind of with outreach. So it involves kind of pitching DCT to organizations in the local Durham area and on a broader scale across the country in order to kind of provide the most impact possible. So what this team will kind of do, it's mainly for people who aren't as technically oriented, but still want to have an impact through DCT. What this will involve is kind of using the organization and pitching the main focus of the group to certain organizations and seeing what kind of tech solutions or tech projects they might want us to work on so that we can provide an impact both locally and on a broader national or global scale. As for anyone who might be interested in helping out with any of these avenues, I'll leave a comment in the chat. We initially had a slide for this. It seems like we had a quick mix up and an error with the positioning of the slides and the slides that got incorporated. So I'll include a side comment in the chat if anyone is interested. Also, I'll include the information to our social media accounts. We have a post on Facebook. If you're interested, just leave your net ID under and we can add you to the listserv once we start sending out new information as the year gets closer. So that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot.
Sorry about that mix up, y'all. We'll definitely in the email out. If you guys want to email me your slides separately, I'll attach them in the email to all the attendees.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca. I am a rising senior, well, I guess officially a senior now, and I'm the president of the Duke Smart Home. And the Smart Home is really a really cool space you'll come to find. We're known as the intersection of sustainability and technology. So next slide. So it's known as a living laboratory. What does that mean? This very idea was from a student actually. So in 2006, a student at Duke pitched the idea to the then president. And at first it seemed like the odds were against them, but eventually it got funded by mainly Home Depot and other companies and was constructed in 2008. And so the smart home itself is a 6,000 square foot building that has numerous sustainability features. You can see in the front right here, the PV panels. There's water tanks on each side for the water filtration system that goes to the irrigation and a couple of appliances in the home. And then the home itself is built to be, energy conservation in mind. So next slide. Here are some of the things that I talked about and just mentioned. So, and then additionally, we have a rooftop garden. So it kind of helps with climate control as well inside the house. Next slide. So the smart home is interesting because we have a residential component in which 10 people can live in the house each year. And we also have a club component in which residents or people who don't live in the home, club members, can come and work on projects. So here are some examples of past projects that we've had. Electric bike, solar benches. You'll actually see on Duke's campus that the solar benches in the Bryan Center are actually a smart home project. The rider system for the buses used throughout campus were actually originally a smart home project. And on the right, you can see that's in the backyard. And then down here was a more recent project. You can see in the mirror, that's actually the old smart home president, actually DCT president, Alex Weck. This is essentially a smart mirror. So a variety of things you can get, and a variety, the smart home itself provides a variety of tools and spaces. So the home has a clean lab where there's software systems. It has what we call the dirty lab, which has hardware tools and just anything that you need to actually build things from scratch. And then we have the overall backyard system where there's a garden. We have collaborations with Duke Farms and Becky that you guys know from this Zoom. We have garden projects. And so it's overall a space that is not only for engineers, but it's interdisciplinary. We want people from Pratt, we want people from Trinity, and just anyone who's interested in the environment or technology or any cross-section of them, we want. They're welcome in the smart home community. So next slide. Here are just some examples of future projects. You can see we have a wide range. There's even more. Aquaponics, so this will be more, biology people and people that like being outdoors and are interested in finding more automated and savvy ways to garden. Bamboo bike shelter. We're just constructing things out of bamboo and having fun and finding a dual purpose with that. So increasing more clean energy mobility through bikes. So there's an ongoing problem on campus in finding places where you can properly store your bikes. So we're trying to solve one issue. And then other more tech ones would be considered the energy trackers one, the multi-room audio, and electric art. So, yeah. And if you guys have any questions about any of the things that I mentioned or any projects or in what capacity you may be involved in the smart home, we have our we have our Gmail right here. There's my personal Duke email. You can always message me. And we also have our website, which has a lot of information as well. So yeah, and if you want to get on our listserv for event updates or just ideas on how you can be involved as a member or even start the residential process, just email me.
Okay, first of all, can I just say how many cool projects the smart home has? Like, shout out to you, honestly. That's great. But I'm Elena. I'm a rising senior studying economics and energy. And today with Megan, we are representing the Duke Energy Club. First of all, thank you for your super early interest in sustainability and the environment. This is great. And welcome to all of you to Duke. In short, the Duke Energy Club is just an undergrad club group of students from all walks of majors that have a common interest in energy and just want to learn a little bit more on how our world is powered. The club was founded in 2014, but we already have an amazing group of a network of alumni that are working in the best energy startups in Tesla and great energy companies. And I think the best thing about this club is that it's growing. We have a growing number of students and outside organizations been interested in the research that we're doing. So that's great. And in the next slides, we're just gonna walk you over how we're trying to channel this interest with, in energy with events and projects. So I'm gonna pass it to Megan.
Yeah, so the first part of our mission is to actually allow our members to explore the energy space, and we allow them to do that both at Duke and also outside of Duke. So we do this in a couple of different ways, the first of which is through an energy training program, which essentially helps students build a really strong background in energy through a couple of different subcategories. So they include transportation, electricity, agriculture, manufacturing, energy efficient buildings, and energy equity and justice. And these are all introduced through a global energy perspective. We also allow students to attend next semester, which is virtual, webinars with energy experts. In the past, we've invited people like Eric Rolfing, who had a career in the US Department of Energy and also worked in the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Energy, or ARPA-E. So that's super cool. And finally, we also allow our students to network with professionals in the energy space through career fairs. Next slide.
Yeah, so getting to some of the projects that we're going to launch for next semester. If you're more of a hands-on person, we have the engineering projects where we're going to teach you how to build a solar panel, for example, or we're going to send you to Indonesia, or we're going to see in this case, to build water pumps. Or we have also research projects where, for example, you're going to work with the Duke Electric Vehicles Club to launch and commercialize their technology. So if you're more of a research or public policy, economic students, this is going to be great for you. And finally, we have consulting projects. In this case, we have outside companies reaching out to us if they have anything where students can do a pro bono consulting project. And so we're super happy to partner with them. Next slide, please.
And last but not least, we provide access for undergraduates to be part of Duke's, I think, very special and unique energy community. So that includes all of the energy clubs from Duke's graduate schools, including the Fuqua School of Business, Sanford School for Public Policy, Pratt Engineering School, and the Nicholas School for the Environment. We also work very closely with Duke Energy Initiative, which has provided us so much support throughout this entire year. And we also sent a lot of students to the Energy Week at Duke, where undergraduate students can meet both graduate students and undergraduate students from across the country that travel to Duke just to explore energy events. Next slide.
So yeah, if you're just interested in the world of transportation, electricity, or renewable energies, or just LED lights, just please send us a message. We have our Facebook, we're pretty active on it. We're launching our website, or just take a screenshot of our emails to reach out.
Yeah, and we'll put our Facebook link and also our interest form in the chat.
Hi everyone, I'm Shreyas. I'm the business lead for Duke Hyperloop. So what you're going to be hearing from us is slightly different from the clubs you have heard so far. So what we are working on is basically the future of transportation. So Elon Musk has this mind-blowing company called Hyperloop, and there are a couple of others also involved in Hyperloop and stuff. So this is actually a competition which is being conducted by SpaceX, in which the participants are expected to build a pod and run it under certain conditions. So it's basically a combination of 3 or 4 branches of engineering and interdisciplinary work, which we are going to do over the next 1 or 2 years. The next slide. Yeah, so here is the motivation and why this actually comes under the Duke Energy initiative as such in a broad way. So as I said, this is basically the future of transportation, and something in which can carry a huge number of people and consume almost no energy compared to the pre-existing transportation system. So the plot you see on the right actually shows energy consumed per passenger journey, and you see that the Hyperloop systems actually lie on the rightmost side of the plot. So it's basically energy efficient, fast, and economical, and our intention is to build a pod under the conditions prescribed in the competition to take part in this next year. Next slide. So here is more on the competition. The goal is to basically build a small-scale Hyperloop which can be scaled up. So that's actually the intention of SpaceX. They want to look at realistic models and basically a scaled down version of a realistic model. And all these years, the competition, the primary aim of the competition is to be that car with the highest acceleration wins, but this time they're changing it a bit, and the track is going to be 10 kilometers long. So with curves as well, all these years it was a plain straight track. So the challenges are increasing, and we are always looking for awesome people. Next slide. So here is our team structure as such. As I told you, we are an interdisciplinary team working on cutting edge technology. So we are divided into 3 sub-teams: the propulsion, electronics and software, and then aerodynamics and structures. And of course, the last one is business and logistics, because everything is about money. So I mainly take care of the business side, and I work in the aero part as well. And we have a great propulsion and electronics team. So if any of you are interested in any of these teams, I'll be posting the contact details on the next slide, and I'll be posting it on the chat. So do reach out to any of the subsystem leads, and you guys can get into the team. We are always looking for awesome people in any of the subsystems, so feel free to reach out. So do like our Facebook page, and do check out our website, dukehyperloop.com. And then our Facebook page, of course, is just Duke Hyperloop. You can like and share our updates. We keep posting our subsystem updates every week, a number of educational videos and stuff like that. We do have a YouTube channel as well, in which we basically share our learning, some best practices of software which you're using, some tutorials. So yeah, everything is basically educational learning and the future of technology. So yeah, looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Maya. I'm the representative from Carolina Pantry Collaborative. So a little background, this is an organization that started as a collaboration between Duke and UNC with a Keenan-Biddle partnership, which funded a collaboration of food pantries between the 2 schools. But since then, we've expanded to Durham Tech, NCCU, NCSU, and ECU. And so basically our mission is to act as a communication pathway to share best practices on food pantries between all of the schools in an effort to alleviate food insecurity on college campuses in North Carolina. So at Duke right now, there's a graduate food pantry that's run by the GPSC, which is the Graduate Professional Student Council. And then there are undergraduate representatives. So Katie Waldner, who couldn't be here, but she and I are the 2 undergraduate representatives from Duke. And Duke currently does not have an undergraduate food pantry, which is one thing that CPC is hoping to tackle. So in the past, undergrads have helped to plan the symposium and also attended monthly board meetings. For planning the symposium, it was weekly conference calls and then some in-person meetings leading up to the symposium. Next slide. Could you go to the next slide? Thanks. So our most recent event was in 2020, or our 2020 symposium, which was in February. We hosted a number of speakers, keynote ones being from the Hope Center and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Foundation, as well as a number of other speakers from Duke, UNC. We had some people from the Sanford World Food Policy Center and someone from ECU as well, I believe, and Durham Tech. So the morning session was speakers, and then the afternoon was a working group strategy session to facilitate conversations between administrators, students, volunteers, and then people who've personally been affected by food insecurity in an effort to spark some policy change surrounding food insecurity. And we're currently planning for our next symposium, which will again be in February, but online this time. And our hope is to make it an annual event. Next slide. So our purpose for being here is there's currently a really big gap in undergrad involvement from Duke in this effort, which is in part stems from the fact that there is not a food pantry to serve the undergraduate population, but there's also a huge lack of statistical knowledge and data about food insecurity among Duke undergraduates. due to past administrators' resistance and food insecurity not being seen as a huge priority, we have in the past been unable to work with professional groups to gauge food insecurity for undergrad students. There's data for grad students, but not undergrads. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist at the undergraduate level. So one of our huge missions is to accumulate more data about that, which will hopefully enable policy change later on. Next slide. So some of our main initiatives looking forward, we're a pretty new group, so we have quite a lot of room for expansion and exploring different pathways, but Swipe Out Hunger is one program that we're currently looking to implement, and it's a program that would allow people to donate meal swipes or ideally food points at Duke to people that are less food secure. We also want to send out an undergraduate food insecurity survey as a preliminary source of data from which to work from. We also want to act as a liaison to the Duke Environmental Union, Duke Mutual Aid, and also increase opportunities for volunteering at the Duke GPSC food pantry. And we are exploring the possibilities of opening an undergraduate pantry, but programs like Swipe Out Hunger might act as a better way to address food insecurity because of Duke's specific meal plan system. Next slide. Yeah, so essentially we want to expand to undergraduates and get a little bit more undergraduate support. So if you have any questions or would like more information, you can contact either me or Katie. And I'm also gonna put in the chat a link to an interest form if you want to be added to our email listserv and hear more information. So yeah, thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. It was such a treat to see my wonderful friend Maya go join her and all of them and us at the next Food and Security Symposium. Can folks hear me? Like, brief thumbs up. Yeah. I'm out at the campus farm. I'm like hanging out in some zinnias right now and a bunch of Felucia and stuff. And I'll try to be quick because our farm has a 10-season history of being student-founded, student-formed, student-centered. I am a staff member at Duke, actually, and so I work with a number of different kinds of students who work on the farm as part of our work-study jobs, students who volunteer at community work days, students who visit here with classes, a lot of times because they initiate those visits and they ask those faculty members to come out to the farm and weave the farm in. The main takeaways that I want to leave y'all with today are just that we are not a farmer training program. I was a student at Duke, when we started this farm, we wanted to create a really intersectional food systems hub. We do as much teaching, learning, workshopping about humanities and social science issues and social drivers of health and the ways that law and policy arbit power in every sector and how every sector influences the food system. So yes, we get environmental science majors, yes, we get biology majors, but we've really never met a student or a staff member who we can't connect with. When I say connect with, we connect formally in the classroom. We do teach classes. Our director, Saskia Corns, teaches and collaboratively teaches across a lot of different schools at Duke. We do co-curricular things from alternative break programs to workshops. We have hands-on volunteer work days that have been suspended during COVID, but we're very actively working with the university right now to be able to get small groups of distanced folks to be able to come out to the farm in groups of 10, and similarly with class visits as well. Back next slide, and then I promise I'll wrap up. I am timing myself. I just said that I'm out. So if we get to the next slide, I just want to acknowledge too that the experience of moving here to Duke University is more than just moving to the chapel and Perkins Library and K-ville. Moving and becoming a resident and a community member of this place is something that I had the privilege of doing 10 years ago as an incoming first year. And now I take my particular work very seriously because I'm literally actively stewarding and managing land that is land of the Occaneechi people of the Saponi Nation, that is land that has had a terrorized history of exploited labor. And so even though the Duke Campus Farm was founded 10 seasons ago, we take very seriously thinking about and using the academic and functional tools of a university to reckon with that history through research, through collaborative projects, and we want to do more community storytelling as well. So we invite you into that work as well, because we're not just inviting you to being Duke students, we're inviting you to becoming members of this Durham, North Carolina, Piedmont area that we live in. So you can reach out at the Duke Campus Farm at Gmail and follow us on social media for updates on when we can get you out here. All right, I went over, sorry.
Hi y'all, I'm Annie. I'm the chair of the Duke University Student Dining Advisory Committee. And so what I do in that position is I collaborate very closely with Duke Dining Administration and consult on all sorts of things with a team of around 12 other people. And although our organization's main focus isn't sustainability, we've done a lot of work on that topic, and so has the entire dining administration. So they've done a couple different projects. They have this program called Deliberate Dining Project, where they're setting long-term objectives that they want to meet. And I'll show you that on the next slide, but I'm going to go through this stuff first. They're also really heavily expanding the amount of vegan and vegetarian options on campus. We all know that those have a lower carbon footprint than really meat-based or dairy-based meals. In the last year, we've also launched a reusable container program for students that will probably be on hold this year because of COVID concerns, but I'm sure we'll come back sometime in the future. And it was a really popular program. And also at any campus location, you can usually bring something like a reusable water bottle or reusable coffee container and get a discount. So I expect to see that program expand in the next couple of years. And on the corporate side, dining is also doing sustainability training programs for vendors. And so all the locations over the course of probably the next 2 to 3 years will be undergoing a sustainability audit, and they will get a score and ideas for how to do better. Next slide, please. And so how is dining making progress towards their goals? Well, one of their goals they've already met. All of the coffee they purchased is fair trade, but you can see they still have a lot of work to do on some of their other goals. In the end, an ideal scenario would be sourcing all of our animal products as hormone-free, making sure all the food we purchase is locally as much as we can, getting seafood that really meets stringent certification programs. So there's still a lot more work to be done. And I think it's something where you can really see tangible results over the course of a semester. Making change in the dining space is as simple as getting a different supplier. So I really like being involved with dining because you can see something really huge happen over the course of one semester. And I'll drop my email in the chat, but please reach out to me personally if you're getting interested in getting involved more in dining issues on campus.
Hi everyone, I'm Leah. I'm here with Duke Environmental Alliance. Go to the next slide. We're just gonna do brief intros. I'm a rising sophomore and probably studying public policy or environmental policy. And Kevin, you can introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, I'm Kevin, remembering me from UEU. I'm also the EA Vice President and Treasurer and rising junior studying mechanical engineering with the Energy and Environment Certificate.
Yeah, next slide. Okay, so an overview of EA. Our mission is basically to promote sustainable practices on campus by raising awareness of environmental issues and advocating for sustainable campus policies. So this looks like mostly trying to educate fellow students on how to live a more sustainable lifestyle. Last year, we were focused a lot on trying to raise awareness around composting and trying to figure out different ways that we can make Duke students aware that a lot of the containers that aren't given out on campus are actually compostable, even though students were still throwing them away. So we're targeting issues like that, and also indoor recycling and composting. So those are a few of our projects from past years. You can go to the next slide. And then a big event that we're responsible for every year is EarthFest, which is an annual spring event. And in past years, it's kind of looked like a big fair outside with educational booths where you can earn stamps by learning about different environmental issues, and then you can trade them in for prizes and food. So some past themes were cultural environmentalism, and had plans for an ocean-themed Earth Fest last year, and we're hoping to figure out some ways to translate Earth Fest into a virtual experience. So that will definitely be a big planning project, and we'll want to have a lot of people involved. Go to the next slide.
So to continue off of that, so as far as planning for this year, we're really working to transition to that more virtual format. Luckily, a lot of education we can do virtually, so continuing to work on things like composting, et cetera, and hosting additional webinars, as well as collaborating with all the wonderful student groups you see here, as well as advocating for more sustainable policies on Duke's campus. Next slide. So if you're interested, we'll drop some more info in the chat as well, but you can also screenshot this slide or email either of us here. So thank you so much.
Hi, next slide. Hi, I'm Sarah Kortler. I'm the president of the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. We are Duke's only ocean-specific environmental group on campus, and we work very closely with the Duke University Marine Lab. If at any point you're interested in joining during our talk, just scan the QR code that's on all the slides on the screen and drop your net ID. Next slide. The Sustainable Ocean Alliance focuses on connecting undergrads with research opportunities. So many of our members are involved in research on campus, whether with the Duke University Marine Lab faculty members or just on their satellite members as part of the Nicholas School of the Environment. We also work with helping our membership base connect with scholarship opportunities, such as the Rachel Carson Scholars Program and the Scholars in Marine Medicine Program. In addition to that, throughout the year, we have general body meetings where we bring in speakers who could be anywhere from graduate students doing research to faculty members to visiting speakers, and to discuss what they do, why it matters, and just take questions from you guys. We heavily focus on education in our organization. We also have a massive career network and course network for you to take control of as much as you want. For example, many of our members have taken similar courses, so we can provide advice as to book bagging. We also can help students dealing with the transition and logistics of going to the Marine Lab for a semester. Next slide. And this is Zach, our vice president, who's going to discuss how you guys can get involved.
Hey everyone. So if you're interested in organizing the events Sarah mentioned, and in general just being in a position of leadership, you should look out for our freshman exec application coming in late August. I definitely recommend it. It's a really great way to get your foot in the door and actually decide what we do on campus. If you want to hear about that and all future SOA events in general, you should definitely check out our Facebook page and scan the QR code down below to join our listserv. If you have any further questions, please email us. Those are our emails right there. I really appreciate you all listening and hope to hear from you soon. Next slide.
Hey, awesome. Wild Ones isn't here, so I will be going next. I am Avery from the Green Devils as well. I'm the president of GROW. So GROW, which stands for the Green Roof and Orchard Workforce, is a member-driven organization within the Nicholas School that cares for the orchard and
okay, sounds good. Sounds good. And then also, I found the retainer, the one that was signed. I found an unsigned one, but there's some like random scribbles on it. Oh shoot! Got on mute.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
Next slide,
please. We don't have power to mute you for some reason. Megan's still with us.
But you can go to the next slide. So this is the mission of GROW, basically to promote awareness and understanding of building integrated green space, which is essentially a fancy word for green roof, or greens like orchards around buildings. Also to make sure that the green roof is properly used for communal enjoyment and benefit, support community outreach, as well as community development around the Nicholas School. So next slide. These are some of our events. So we have community gardening days, which bring together undergraduate and graduate members. We also have sustainable agriculture workshops about things like pruning and permaculture, speakers like one my favorite was a talk on gardening and wellness from last semester, and then some fun random other activities like rock painting for decorating the garden space, a salsa making day with our produce, and coffee composting. Next slide, please. So while we're a little bit unsure exactly what the next semester is going to bring because of COVID, we hopefully will still be working and having community work days socially distanced. So if you have any questions about the group or green space or other gardening opportunities on campus, you can email me on the slide, or Nancy Kelly, probably about club specific things, just so she's not bombarded. She's busy. But thank you.
Hi, my name is Barushi, and my friend Kira and I are here from Earthy Creations. I'm from Apex, North Carolina, and I'm a rising sophomore studying computer science and linguistics.
I'm a sophomore, and I'm from San Francisco, and I'm planning on studying visual arts and global health. And we are currently ambassadors for the Earthy Creations business that seeks to promote sustainability and creativity. We do this by taking trash and recycled items and transforming them into art, which we then sell. We have artists from schools across the country that produce art for Earthy Creations, and these artists are then able to have their work shown in galleries. You're also able to further develop your practice, and being a part of this movement also shows your creativity and care for social issues to future employers.
Yeah, and being an artist for Earthy Creations means that you're part of our artist community, which means you're able to bounce off your ideas with other artists. So the other day, Kira told me about how to transfer images onto fabric, which I knew nothing about, so that was really awesome. Artists also make 55% commission on their pieces when they sell, which is absolutely amazing considering the exposure to the Earthy Creations audience. I had never sold my art before Earthy Creations, and having the support and platform to be able to do so is super empowering. By being an ambassador and artist for Earthy Creations, we are able to encourage young artists to find beauty in the things that we normally throw away and support them in these creative endeavors. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so both of us are artists for Earthy Creations. I decided to join Earthy Creations because I'm excited about making art and raising awareness about the environment. I had a great time being able to do the art that I'm passionate about, but while also exploring new mediums and methods of creating art that is sustainable and environmentally friendly. In my piece on the left, I dumpster dove to find this baby crib. I repainted it and glued fake flowers and plastic bottles and dirt.
Yeah, so I decided to become an artist for Earthy Creations because I felt that it inspired me to see new value in different things, and also use my love for art to be part of a greater movement that raises awareness about mismanaged waste and choosing to be more sustainable. Every art piece we make sparks a conversation about sustainability, and that's something that I feel very, very proud of. The art that you see on the slide on the right side that I've made is made from various bottles and jars. The one from the top is actually like an old salsa jar that I cleaned out and painted. And the painting at the bottom is made from this really big envelope that we had. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so if you're interested in being an artist for Earthy Creations, we would love for you to join. By being a part of Earthy Creations, you become part of a bigger picture and movement, and are also able to pursue your creative endeavors with a wider audience.
And Kira and I are going to put our emails into the chat if you would like to reach out to us.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope you have been enjoying the webinar so far. So I'm going to try to quickly dive into some STEAM opportunities on campus. STEAM has become a growing movement on Duke's campus for a few years now. Earthy Creations is actually an example of one of the ways STEAM is kind of permeated in the Duke community. The STEAM community is one created to cultivate a sense of artistry and creativity in connection to STEM. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm sure you all knew that. The disappointing part of college life sometimes is that often students become so absorbed with their major or with their field of study that any artistic talent or passion they had falls on the back burner. At least that was my experience. That's kind of why the arts community at Duke is pushing strong. The STEAM community hopes to connect interested students and faculty to resources and individuals who are incorporating the arts and humanities in their STEM-based profession. This has been in the form of a STEAM website, which I will provide the link to, the creation of the STEAM Ambassadors program, which celebrates students doing work at the intersection of science and art, and the STEAM Forum, which to my understanding was postponed last year, but there was a 2019 version of it. Next slide, please. So if you're interested, you can contact Jordan Anderson. He is a master's student working with Do Arts, actually, which is the umbrella organization for the arts. Do Arts has really spearheaded STEAM at Duke. So just wanted to provide his contact information. Next slide, please. So another example I wanted to dive into of STEAM as in relation to the environment is through the EnviroArt Gallery, something that the Undergraduate Environmental Union will actually be working to expand this year. The EnviroArt Gallery, now going into its 5th year, is a showcase and reception created to bring attention to environmental issues, environmental injustice, and environmental degradation in an easily absorbable and comprehensible way. That is through art. Next slide, please. So the showcase, which often consists of an in-person gallery and a reception with local environmental advocates and environmental artists speaking on their work, was something that I actually first started in Virginia in high school. The showcase has grown every year since and was supposed to have a showcase and reception at Duke and on the Gold Coast in Australia before COVID shut everything down. So it's become a sort of staple in the STEAM community in both the arts and the environmental community as a connector of the environment and the arts. Next slide, please. So this year, the gallery is likely to go virtual, as most things will, but it will also be expanding. Here in the United States and in Australia, with the help of the UEU, Duke Arts, and several community artists in both countries, we will be working to spread the showcase to institutions throughout North Carolina, up into Virginia, and throughout Queensland, Australia. We are creating a website, an Eco Arts Hub, that will provide tutorial videos on how to curate your own EnviroArt gallery and reception for anyone in the world to use. That is one of the big projects this year. This year is the first in a process, I guess, to begin sharing the EnviroArt Gallery and Eco Arts Hub with people in a bunch of other countries. So we actually received 1,000 Australian dollars to begin creating the Eco Arts Hub, and we will be working with Duke Arts and the Mary Lou Williams Center for Black Culture to incorporate more works that touch on environmental justice and to share this project with students at Duke Kunshan University in China. The goal is to create an EnviroArt series in the month of April that connects people all across the state to advocates in Australia and China. Next slide, please. So this showcase has received a lot of support from Duke and the community on the Gold Coast, and we've already gotten additional interest from Duke students and neighboring institutions to work on the expansion and website. The gallery was recently profiled by Duke Admissions Office, and we're really looking forward to turning this event into a global movement with your help, of course. We're always looking for more people to make the expansion a possibility this year. Next slide, please. So if you're interested in learning more and getting involved in spreading this throughout the state of North Carolina, please contact me at the email in this presentation. I'll also provide it in the chat. And we will actually have a call for art in January. So if you are an artist, an environmental artist looking for a place to showcase, it'll be virtual. Again, reminder, be on the lookout for more information. Next slide. So on a completely different note, I will also be presenting environmental journalism opportunities to you guys. Are you interested in becoming an environmental communicator, a disseminator of important environmental information, facts, and advocacy? Then consider becoming an environmental journalist at Duke. One of the few students who focuses on covering Duke, Durham, North Carolina, and national environmental issues, policy, and solutions. There are numerous resources at Duke, but some of the best ways to get involved or just get a taste of environmental journalism are through the Duke Chronicle, the 9th Street Journal, and the DeWitt Wallace Center for Media and Democracy in Duke's Sanford School for Public Policy. Next slide, please. So the Chronicle is an independent media outlet created and run by students here at Duke. You may have seen some of their awesome articles recently. It covers news, opinion, culture, and so much more digitally, in print, and via multimedia options like podcasts, photography, graphics, you name it. Environmental staff reporters can either work in the news editor section or with the health and science editor to cover issues from environmental injustice at Duke or in Durham to Duke's carbon neutrality goals, to sharing scientific findings coming out of Duke's research labs, or just in general, keeping Duke accountable for the environmental promises it's making, the sustainability promises it's making. So you can find different Chronicle contacts here for the news editor and the health and science editors if you want to take a screenshot really quickly. Next slide, please. Next, we have the 9th Street Journal. We covered Durham. The 9th Street Journal is a news source within the Sanford School for Public Policy. It is made up of student reporters and journalism faculty who focus on Durham governance and accountability. The 9th Street Journal has grown a lot as a reputable news source in Durham, as it's one of the few that thoroughly, frequently, and accurately covers Durham news. Like one of the few sources in Durham to do so, to continue to do so. You get to profile council members, speak to city officials, and do deep dives into city governance, keeping the city of Durham accountable for its sustainability and environmental justice promises. So if you're interested in getting a real taste of journalism, a real journalism experience, and seeing what it's like to cover environmental news for a real city in a real newsroom, then I would consider trying to join the 9th Street Journal. Next slide, please. I just wanted to point out some contacts here. If you wanted to get a sense for the industry, these are definitely the people to contact. So first you have Kathy Clabby. She's amazing. She is a former environmental and science news reporter who now teaches the environmental journalism class here at Duke. She also helps run the 9th Street Journal. So she's an amazing resource if you're interested in environmental or science journalism in general. And then you have Lindsay Gilpin. She's also fantastic. She is a new editor for the 9th Street Journal. She is an environmental reporter who created Southerly, which is an independent media outlet that focuses on environmental issues and environmental justice in the Deep South. So she's definitely someone I would reach out to if you're interested in learning how to start your own media outlet or be a freelance reporter, environmental reporter. They're both super nice and fantastic resources. And I guess I will leave that there. Next slide, please. Almost done. So I just wanted to say, if you're interested in environmental journalism as a career path, I would definitely recommend participating in this certificate program, Policy Journalism and Media Studies. I am personally pursuing an environmental science and policy major with this certificate, and they complement each other very nicely. There's so much freedom in your courses, and you can really dedicate your time to an environmental beat if you're interested in this. If you would like to get a taste of environmental journalism firsthand, I also recommend taking PJMS 390, that's environmental journalism, offered this fall. It is my understanding that this course is offered every fall, so I would definitely recommend taking it at least once as an undergraduate. So just next slide, please. Here is some contact information, subscription information for the different news sources I mentioned, the Chronicle, 9th Street Journal, the certificate program, and Southerly, the environmental news source that Lindsay Gilpin made. Personally, I only discovered that I was interested in journalism last year. And with these resources, I've really been able to hit the ground running in a big way as a journalist, in a very competitive way. So I would definitely recommend contacting these people and taking advantage of what Duke has to offer if you're interested in environmental journalism. Also, feel free to contact me if you would like help connecting with any of these people, or if you'd like me to make an introduction. And thank you, that's it. So Q&A time. Let me see. So I know that was very dense. We wanted to provide everyone the opportunity to ask additional questions of people. If you had any specific questions for specific groups, what we're going to do is we're going to go through